Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button for more content.
Et ici, maintenant, ce soir, they're not going to put him up there, right? Which I don't understand. Like, I don't know why they would do that. It's like, well, part of the history of being in that building is seeing all of those banners, and for whatever reason, they take them down. Unless you buy a ticket for the Blue Blanc et Rouge, il n'y a pas the banners on the rafters. But anyway, this is like my third trip to Canada this year, and I'm going to tell you something right now. How would I say? I would say, j'aime bien, I don't know, le Canada. I quite like Canada. J'aime bien Canada. Le Canada. Oh, Canada. I'm having a great time. Right? Vancouver's great. Calgary is literally Massachusetts with it's more like if Texas was Massachusetts and it was in Canada. It's, you know something, that's not even true. My whole view of Calgary is tainted because meaning it's skewed. Not talking about the porno taint. I mean tainted as in skewed. Because of the first time I was there with Verzi. Paul Verzi, way back in the day. We went there, and I don't know where we played, but it was the winter time, and I think everybody was going nuts because they were like cooped up or whatever. These people drank like I had never seen. And I really have to think, like the next two times I played Calgary, I was anticipating running into that because they were animals that first time I went out there. I mean, I just remember like when I think of it, I just think of the venue and just hearing the sound of a beer bottle tipping over and then slowly rolling to the front of the stage. I heard that like 9 times every show. I mean, they were lit. And then the last 2 times I was there or whatever, it has been cool, but I've just been anticipating, especially last time I played like a park in the afternoon on the first show. And it was great. And then we were downtown that time, and the downtown area was great. So I'm gradually shaking off my first experience in Calgary. And none of it was, they were just wasted. That's all I remember. So anyway, and then I did a trip to Montreal, which is always great, Montreal. And then I went to, now I'm in Toronto, and I'm having a great time. I found a great place to get an espresso. I told you my road breakfast, I have a double espresso and then an orange after I go to the gym. And it starts the day off right. Walking around looking like an old gorilla. Anyway, so Steph took me down to this area where it's this big, it's just like a big open market. And ended up getting a, what did they have? Was it the Godfather or a classic or something like that? It was sausage, eggplant, and peppers. And the sandwich was so fucking big, I only ate like half of it. But it's sort of a part of Toronto that I've never been to. It's sort of the business area or whatever. And I will tell you this, man. They got a junkie problem up here. You know what I mean? Like every city, you got your drug addicts or whatever. But like, this is like the only city I've been to in a minute where, you're walking down the street, you're like, is that guy coming at me? Am I nuts right now? Is that guy like, and then you're looking, sort of trying not to look at him, but also like, can that person even see me? I saw this guy come down with this look of euphoria. He must have just got a fix. And his eyes were up and he was smiling wildly. And you know the deal. You know the deal with junkies, right? You're just like, just please, for the love of God, don't scratch me. Don't touch me. Nothing of your atmosphere get on me. please. I swear to God, he came and he was like, you know, I don't know, he was like old school bald, you know, where he didn't shave the sides. He kept the hair. So he just had this landing strip. He looked like a weatherman from the 1970s coming down the street. A little bit of red in his stubble. I mean, this guy was a mess. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I was kind of like, you know what I mean? You just sort of subtly, as you're walking and you're waiting for, you know, any sort of quick movement to spring out of the way. You know, they got a lot of people talking to themselves. But it's mostly normal people. So that's the thing. They because there's just so, you know, 99% of people are just normal walking around. Very nice, very polite people. So, and then all of a sudden, like, and the junkies are sort of hiding, like, amongst them. Like, it's like they're coming out of a cornfield, except the corn is people. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you're thinking you're just taking a stroll down the street. And you're like, it's Canada, man. It's very nice. It's very quaint. It's a nice time of year to come up here. And then all of a sudden, just like out of nowhere, like a video game, junkie! Happy junkie, angry junkie, talking to himself, zigzagging, diagonal walker, coming out of the crowd. Fingernails, you know, just that shit where you just like, keep this away from me. You got to figure they get a brand new batch every year with how cold it gets in the winter. This one shoe junkies up here make it. Although they have like those underground tunnels up here. And I think they go underground, which is scarier because then you're kind of like in these hallways where, you know, I always felt like, you know, if you're above ground, you know, worst case scenario, you can kind of lead the junkie into traffic and you can let, you know, a hatchback do your dirty work for you. And that way you don't have to like touch them, you know. What do you feel like, what crazy street person, like the way to go, it's definitely a front kick. You know what I mean? If any part of you is going to touch them, you want it to be the bottom of your shoe. And I know this sounds like heartless or whatever, but, you know, like what are you supposed to do? Like nobody, for some reason, there's no money to help out these people, which is really stupid. The same way they don't help out veterans, the same way they don't help out with anybody with any sort of mental issues. Yeah, I don't know. Been reading all this conspiracy theory too about how, you know, with water and food and how eventually, you know, for whatever reason, they're shutting down farms, you know, to just cause a scarcity in food. And it's just like, what are these people doing? And why do all regular people put up with it? I actually had like a fantasy of all of those sociopaths that sit around and think about doing shit like that like some group of people just comes in and just whacks them all. I mean, the entire family, like they did in Russia. And then they find the bones 100 years later, because you can't leave anybody alive in the family tree or else they come back for their vengeance. Like in all those old Westerns and karate movies. Sorry, I had a lot of alone time. Anyway, but if you hear a weirdness in my voice right now, it's a relief that the Fenway show is not something I now have to wonder how it's going to go.